So happy Monday. Today I want to talk about it's a client lesson that I had been planning to talk about. And then last week I had two other conversations with a couple of couples that really kind of are in line with the same sort of client topic that I wanted to talk about. So it just sort of reinforced that this was a good topic for the group because it it's it's something that I think everyone to some extent is grappling with, particularly if you have been paying off debt for some time or have debt that you either are paying off or have kind of gone in cycles working on paying it off and um, either falling off the wagon or what have you. So, right, we all have our own unique experiences. We're all on our own journeys. My goal is to inspire you to really find the debt free journey that is joyful, that is sustainable, and that will actually work for you and your family. There are some cookie cutter programs that you can sort of subscribe to and follow, right? You can sort of take them as gospel, and that can be really destructive. It can be really hard to maintain, sustain. And so that's why I really feel so strongly about this idea of sustainability. Hi, Barbie. Sustainability and joy on your debt-free journey, because it is something that can take some time, and it is something that you know shouldn't be a grind, shouldn't be awful necessarily. Okay. So, what I want to talk about today is this idea that paying off debt should never be your number one priority, um, and that we need to be really crystal clear about what is the number one priority. Okay? So, what I mean by that is when you sit down and sort of plan what is your money going to do for the month, I don't want you to have paying off debt as being the most important thing every single month. I want you to I want you to pick something else that is the most important thing. So for example, I had a client, and she's not even paying off debt, you guys. I had a client, and this is where this whole sort of idea for this live stream came. She asked me if she should stop paying her personal trainer. And a few months before, she'd said that, this is a season for her. She's lost both of her parents in the past few years. She's young, she's in her 20s. And this is a season of sort of rebuilding, restoration, growth for her. And joining a gym and having a personal trainer was part of that, for her physical health, for her mental health. Um, and that was something that she expressed early on. Like I said, she doesn't have any debt, and so she had this sort of feeling of, money is still tight, right? She doesn't have a whole lot of income, so money is tight, but she's young, and she's going to move jobs and get promoted, and her income will go up, right? But this question of should I stop working with a personal trainer because I don't have enough money in my budget for everything came up. And so what do I always do, right? What we did was looked at, well, what's the plan for your money, and how did you spend money last month? So we looked at her spending for the month before. I think this happened in May. That's when I sort of decided to talk about this topic. And so we looked at April, and she had spent roughly $500 at Home Goods and Target, those kinds of stores, like where we kind of go in for a couple of things and end up spending $75. And it was over several trips, right? So she had a habit of kind of going into these stores and grabbing something, and it wasn't a big deal, but it did add up over the month to around $500. And she's only paying her trainer $175 a month, right? And so isn't it interesting that we will kind of self-sabotage, that we will grab something that maybe on some mornings, we wake up and we're like, ooh, do I want to go to the gym? Do I want to work with the trainer, right? It's easy to cut those things out or to try to justify getting rid of them. And, I'm a huge proponent of spending money on the right things. I'm a proponent of spending a lot of money on the right things. I am not a fan of spending money on crap that you don't care about, that you don't really need, that you don't really want, or things that you are buying or getting because you think you should have them. Hello, Dawn. Oh, Dawn, it's so good to see you here. It's been a while. Good to see you. Others of you, if you're here, say hi. I'm noticing that there's more people joining, and I wonder if it's the time. So this is good. I'm glad to have you guys here. So let me know if you're here if you haven't said hi yet. So anyway, where we're at with this story is my client, debt-free, is spending $500 at Home Goods, Target, those kinds of places. And this isn't even including, the hundreds of dollars she spent at Dunkin' Donuts and restaurants and stuff. And she's wondering if she should get rid of her $175 a month personal trainer, which she had expressed to me was like one of the most important things that she was doing right now for her physical and mental health. She's also seen a therapist. She's also working with me, right? And this is a season, she said, for her growth, for her rejuvenation, to recharge. And she, it's been a really restorative year for her. She's moving into a season of increasing her income, thinking about moving, and some exciting things that are going on right now. So I'm really excited for her and happy for her. But I just think that it's really interesting how quickly we sort of put blinders on to unnecessary spending and how quickly we can cut out what actually is the most important thing to be holding on to in our money plan, in our budget. Okay, so this came up in a couple of other places this past week. I was on 2 calls in one day. This came up. 2 different couples, both making a decent amount of money. Both have over $100,000 in debt. Okay, so 2 different couples, both have over $100,000 in debt, both making 6 figures. And for one couple, their health is really, really a major issue. So a job is super high stress, lots and lots and lots of travel, and they're really worried about their physical health and just how the job is impacting them. Now, they're justifying this job because it pays well and they need it to pay off their debt. But they have no sort of sense of how are we going to improve our health as we pay off this debt? Like, how are we going to make health our number one priority? How are we going to shift our habits? How are we going to make sure that we're prioritizing our health while we, pay off this debt? And so that is something that, came up pretty immediately for me. And it was something that didn't even register as this should be important. The most important thing to them was pay off the debt so we can work less so that we can stop being so stressed at work, which makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong, that makes sense. Like, obviously we want to quickly get rid of this debt so that they can change their lifestyle. But you are going to actually go faster and be more sustainable if you are both, feeling good so that you're able to communicate better. You're not, getting to the end of a week and burning out and then just, either, spending a lot of money on takeout, which is just going to perpetuate, feeling unhealthy, depending on what kind of food you're eating. And you guys, I have a background in health and fitness. So, this is, I'm kind of an expert in that stuff too. And so how we feel, what we're putting into our bodies, how much we're moving our bodies is going to affect our decision-making capacity and ability and the quality of the decisions that we make. Our mindset, how we feel about money day in and day out, how we feel about our work, right? The kind of tough job that we're going to. So if we wake up and our physical body feels good and our mind feels good, we're going to be able to handle the day of, working on paying off debt much easier. We're going to go to work. We're going to make decisions. We're going to navigate kind of the stress and the hard stuff way easier if we're taking care of ourselves. So I don't know what that necessarily means for this couple. You know, what should they do? What should they add in to their budget that would not be going to debt per se, but just really naming that and saying paying off debt is not the most important thing. Okay. Our health is. And actually it's really funny, or not funny, but sort of interesting. When I was a kid, I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and the three of us, we had this big playroom, and there was a chalkboard in the playroom. And I remember my dad used to play like school with us, and he was a teacher when I was a baby. And he's probably watching this. Hi, Dad. The replay at least. And so he would write like Mr. Teach or Mr. Teacher or something on the board, and we would say like, teach us something. You know, it was really fun. We would like play school. And I remember one day on the board he wrote, your health is more important than your wealth, or health is more important than wealth. And I mean, you guys, I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and I can still see it in his handwriting on that board. And that quote has stuck with me for, over 30 years now. Your health is more important than your wealth, or health is more important than wealth. And I remember at the time when he wrote that, I thought it was kind of silly. I was like, I don't understand. I mean, if you get sick, but you have no money, I mean, you're just going to get better again. I mean, like, I had no concept for what health and wealth really meant. I had no concept of like how wealth can be something other than money, right? And that your health can be something other than just having a tummy ache. When you think about health today, my gosh, I mean, the anxiety, the stress that just everyday life can cause, that a pandemic can cause, that work can cause, kids. I mean, your health is affected by so many different aspects. And so it's such a beautiful idea now to think about just like how important, right? Like of course, like you don't have wealth if you don't have your health, right? Doesn't that make sense? I mean, without your health, you can't enjoy anything. And so I just remember that so distinctly. So all that to say, paying off your debt should not be the most important thing. There's always something more important than that. And so in some cases, it might be your health, right? Your health is more important than paying off debt. So what are you spending money on this month that is going to improve your health? What are you doing that is really showing that you have a priority outside of paying off debt? Now, if you're sitting there thinking, well, I should be paying off debt, but I'm not even making that the second priority, that's okay. But I do see that a lot of people spend a lot of energy trying to pay off debt, or maybe they're just kind of doing it in a scattered effort, or they're just thinking about it, they're consumed with it, and they're making it the most important thing, even if they're not even taking action on it. And so what we need to be doing is saying, yeah, it's important, but what's the most important thing? And are we taking action on that thing, which is probably then going to make us more effective and more efficient with this debt business, right? So it might be your health. Another couple I talk to, it's their family. They need to spend some time with, they want to spend more time with their kids. They want to settle into a home that they want to raise their kids in. They want to spend more time working on their marriage, right? Your number one priority might be going out on a date with your spouse this month. Maybe you haven't done that in a while. Maybe you've been really stressed about money, and your marriage is actually the most important thing right now, right? And I know the two go hand in hand. I know money touches everything. I know that. I know the stress of money affects your health. I get it, right? But are we intentionally saying we're going to use some resources towards the most important thing and not let it just go wherever it goes, right? Are we being intentional? So I want you, an exercise that you can do, and I gave this homework assignment to 4 people, 2 couples last week, is decide what your number one priority is. and make sure that you are putting that in your plan for July, right, which is next week actually. Put that in your plan for July before you even think about paying off debt or reaching other money goals. So what needs to be the most important thing for you next month? Is it your family? Is it your health? Is it something else completely different? Is it your growth? Is it your I had another word and it just escaped me. It kind of goes along with growth, like your your like the work that you do, like your purpose. Are you cultivating something in your life that has a lot of meaning for you and that really feels important to you right now? It's okay to make that more important than paying off debt, right? The better you are, right? The best version of you is going to do the best work, creating a plan, making good decisions, paying off debt, all that stuff. So we've got to take care of the most important thing first. For me, right now, we're not trying to pay off debt, but for me right now, we really are trying to create our home. I mean, we are trying to make this home the best home for our family. We live in a small house and it is in the perfect location and we're never moving ever. Um, and so there's a lot of work that we need to do. And that is the priority right now. So any money that we're saving, we're saving to do like a small addition. We're finishing up this big garage we've been working on. Yard work, driveway, like there's so many projects that we're working on. And so, yeah, like we went away this past weekend. Actually, it was amazing. Took the kids to the beach, but like we didn't spend that much money on it. Believe me, we're not like flying to Europe or doing any fancy vacations anytime soon. Like we are working on this house and really making our home our home. And so, what kind of is the number one priority for us right now? It is home. And that means family, right? But certainly, I think once we accomplish this sort of sense of home for Scott and I, it will be fitness. That is definitely something we've been talking about. We need to put a little bit more attention to. We don't need to put more money towards it, but we could put a little bit more time towards it. So maybe we'll say like home and fitness. We'll put those two together. And actually, that's a really good point. Sometimes it doesn't take money to take care of the most important thing. If your number one priority is your marriage, that doesn't take money, ladies. Like it really doesn't. And this is not the group for how to improve your marriage necessarily. There's a lot of good ones in there. I know I've got a bunch of marriage and relationship coaches in this group, so feel free to pipe in if you're watching. But it doesn't take a lot of resources to cultivate a healthier marriage, but it does take time and it does take intention. And if you are focused on being stressed about money and paying off your debt, it might be worthwhile to allow time to work on something else. Same thing with fitness. It doesn't take a lot of money to drink more water, to sleep a little bit more, to create better habits so that you can sleep better. And so anyway, the list goes on and on. If you're not sure how to create a priority that goes before pay off debt or stress about money, but you're not really sure how to break that cycle, let's chat. So I have a new one-on-one offer that is really exciting. This is for the woman who does not want to go through sort of 3 months or more of one-on-one coaching. It is a 2-hour commitment, but we go deep. Like I don't hold back. Like we dig right in. And this is an opportunity for you to really see what exactly does our monthly budget look like? Like what should I be spending money on in the month? Where should it be going? What are we doing first? Do we need to save more money? Should we be paying off this debt? Should we be taking a break and focusing on something else entirely? Are we ready for what's coming in July and August and September? Like really mapping the whole thing out and then figuring out some strategies for how to make it more simple to track and keep, sort of stay on top of. What are some things that we can eliminate? What can we automate? Like all those things that just make this process easier and, dare I say, fun. so that you feel like you're moving the needle, okay? And you're avoiding any new debt, which for a lot of people is a huge win in and of itself. Okay, so I have one of the spots is gone for July. So June is full. I have one spot left in July for this 2-hour intensive, and then there will be 2 spots in August. So if this is something that you would like to do over the summer with me, you and sort of like the long-term coaching doesn't feel like the right fit for you right now, let me know, send me a private message, and we can talk about that. I can share what dates are available. The intensive, 100% of any investment you make in the intensive, well, it's the same amount for everybody, but 100% of that investment can then go to coaching if you choose to continue on. So it's like a win-win, no risk here. So if you choose to do the intensive, you can go right into coaching, and that will go right into the coaching fee. So if that sounds like you, if you are really kind of spinning your wheels about what should I be saving, what should I be paying off, Katie says I should have a priority, I don't know what it is, help me find that, help me sort of identify what I should be focusing on right now and over the next 90 days, let me know, and we can see if this is a good option for you, if now is a good time to do that for you. So any questions? Dawn said, yeah, that makes sense. I think that was about that your health is more important than wealth. I remember seeing that. And Denise's mind is blown. Good. All right, you guys, kind of short and sweet. Oh, I guess it wasn't that short and sweet. 22.5 minutes. My husband just got home from a day working out of the state, so I'm going to go see him. But lovely to have you join me. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week. Again, if you have any questions, drop them below, and if you're interested in the intensive, send me a private message. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.